So it's somewhat of a frustrating afternoon. Obviously the scoreboard says we lost by 17 points to 31 to the Dragons, but I know it's the first hit out with 65% of the squad brand new, so not the time to be too frustrated, I imagine, after that one.
No, I think there's some really positive things there. We were 14 points away from a draw or a victory, and I think all the mistakes that contribute to scores either side were our fault. I don't think we're too far away from it all. A couple of fix-ups, and that's a very different game, and in the whole pretty positive first hit out. Plenty
of chances. I guess looking back we could have been more clinical, but the fact that we're creating them against a team of that quality is certainly a positive, and then we know that that's the whole point in the pre-season games. We've got 3 games leading into London Irish, so as we've already mentioned, plenty of positives, and then just looking to be a bit more clinical, I guess. Yeah, absolutely. We looked dangerous at times. Thought our backs, when the ball went through their hands, were really clinical. Some big carries from boys with some good yards done there. Full 80 minutes for a few of the forwards who got through a good bit of work, and there's a lot of work-ons. There's a lot of positives that can be taken there, and I think it's a really good picture for us, actually. I guess the frustrations were a couple of the tries early in the second half were a little bit soft, and just as we could have got back in the game, they kind of stretched themselves out a little bit. That might be a little bit of a frustration. Yeah, we got caught napping. That might be the difference between the two sides. We came out half-time a little bit casual, which is definitely a fix-up. It's not acceptable at this time of the year, or any time of the year, but we'll build on that and we'll look to come out a bit stronger either side of the halves. How good was it to just finally get out there? I know it's been a long 9 weeks of pre-season. Just the fact that we've got competitive rugby going again, it must be great to just be out there and just building towards the start of the championship season. Yeah, absolutely. Personally, I'm not one for training. I want to play as much rugby as possible, and to get those 9 weeks done and get that hole in the bank and actually do what we're employed to do, which is play rugby. Get out, hit a few people, a few carries, and it's good to be back. Yeah. Set piece went pretty well. The line out on scrum looked relatively solid. I guess that's one of the main positives. Yeah, very good. I thought we scrummed really well. I thought we were unlucky a couple of times. We had the dominance and got pulled up here and there. I thought it was actually a pretty good showing. And yeah, again though, it was like the game that was a little bit first gear. I think if we take up a couple of notches, that could be really, really dangerous going forward. You personally went 80 minutes. I think there were only 2 or 3 of you that did that. So plenty of gas going through the legs after that one. Yeah, it wasn't the easiest first hit out, but no, it's good. It's all miles in the tank. We're a couple short on injuries, so we've got to get through it, and it's all good going into Irish. Yeah, now we lead obviously into Blackheath next weekend. You mentioned, you did mention it in the huddle, the fact that was kind of first gear, looking to go up a couple next week and really kind of put some points on the board and show what we can finish off those chances. Yeah, it's an acceptable starting point from where we are now, but next week has to be better. We have to go to Blackheath and give them the respect they deserve, be real clinical and real ruthless, and then the week after we play Harlequins, which will be a different calibre of team, which will require even more, if not better than what we showed today, and we've got to keep building each week. And in terms of the week ahead, what would you say are kind of the main work-ons after that one? I think just a few little mistakes, a couple of knock-ons. We were a bit sloppy with the ball at times. As I said, just after half-time, we got caught a bit cold defensively. So little fix-ups here and there. I don't think anything drastic needs to be done. Just need to keep improving, keep going through the process of pre-season, and I think we'll be great coming Irish. And what your first hit out this afternoon against the Dragons? Defeat, but certainly plenty of positives to take. What would be your assessment of that game?
I'd give us a C. I thought there was plenty of endeavour. There was some very good stuff. I think we'll look back and probably be disappointed with some of the game, or some of the play that we controlled, and the amount of times we probably entered their 22 that we didn't come away with the points. But some of our play starting to come together nicely. I thought we were pretty structured on our exits. Some of our starter plays, we didn't get too many opportunities, but some good stuff there. And obviously a lot of debuts for new guys, so it's nice to get that first run out. And I think from training for 2.5 months now, we needed a game. Do you think the main disappointment was probably the fact that we had to work a lot harder for our tries than they did theirs? They seemed to kind of break away a little bit, potentially a little bit soft possibly? Yeah, 100%. I think to concede 31 points, I don't think they had as much possession as we did, and I think they scored their tries an awful lot easier than we did. We didn't make them go through the phases and really test us to do so. So I think that'll definitely be a work on, just a couple of maybe structural issues in terms of our defence there that Bucks will look to get sorted. And from our side, I think we were maybe going through too many phases in terms of what we needed to do to create an opportunity. We weren't massively clinical. I guess that would be obviously a work on as well. Maybe a little bit kind of overly excited when we got near the line, a couple of little offloads, etc. But you know, I guess just trying to take the chances whenever we get them, and then looking forward to Blackheath next week. Yeah, there'll definitely be a work on in terms of when we get into that 22, just tightening up our play a little bit. I thought we were a little bit loose there. And yeah, we've got it's an exciting week. We've got Harlequins coming down on Tuesday for a session, so we'll get tested then. We're off to Blackheath next week, who'll be one of the top teams in National 1 this year and were last year, so they will definitely pose us problems defensively, and offensively we've got to take a step forward to get our game going. The 10 minutes after half time, when we scored early, that was probably our best 10 minutes of the game. We certainly put the Dragons under pressure, looked very strong in that period. Yeah, to be honest, I thought all second half, I know we had the breeze, it was probably easier to control the field position, but I generally felt we played most of the rugby second half. I just don't think we're quite there yet in terms of shape, lots of new combinations, but overall the players worked hard. That's all I can ask at this stage, and the pressure starts to come on next couple of weeks in terms of my expectations of our systems and plays. Yeah, I guess the main thing is the fact that we've got 27, however many it is, new players. It's going to take a few weeks to bed in before that London Irish game, and I guess there's lots of positives in that respect from today. Yeah, that is ultimately our biggest challenge. I said that, I think, at the end of last season, start of this season. We've got to make a lot of individuals into a team. It will take time, but we also set very high standards of ourselves, so it's just about making sure we're improving week on week basically over these next 3 weeks. Craig, an early pre-season hit out against the Dragons. Give us your initial thoughts after that one.
Like you say, pretty good hit out. Intensity was pretty high, and I thought our work rate was really good. Obviously, the scoreline's not too bad for us. We played against decent opposition there. Regardless, taking the scoreline out of the situation, I think there's a few work-ons that we'll look at the video and attack. In terms of attack, I think we can really sharpen up there. I think we struggled at times with our attack and getting into shape, but on the whole, pretty good hit out, and I think we'll get a lot of learning from it. You mentioned the attack there, with the main aim just to be a little bit more clinical, especially in that second half. We had an awful lot of possession, but just couldn't quite get over the line. Yeah, I think it's first hit out for a lot of boys. We didn't get a lot of continuity in there with changes, etc. I think we can be more clinical, but I think it's more about our work off the ball and getting ourselves into shape. But playing against a decent defence there, they're quite intense in defence, but we did create some pretty nice tries as well. Conversely, so. In terms of creating the chances, that must be certainly a positive that we can take. The fact that we certainly, well, you in particular, certainly put your centres and stuff through a few holes, which is, and then if we can finish those off, that'll look a lot more attractive on the scoreboard, I'd imagine. Yeah, we've got some individuals out there that are capable of tearing defences apart, and it's just, as I said, getting ourselves into those positions and being crisp when we've got the ball. But like you say, lots of positives to take out of it, but there'll be a few negatives as well that we'll have to work on. You came on at half time and certainly had a great impact. You scored that try early on, which kind of got us back into the match. Did you enjoy yourself out there? Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's been a pretty long pre-season, and we just want to play rugby, so it was good to get out there. Good, decent weather, good pre-season game. Have a little hit out, and luckily snuck over in the corner somehow. You obviously enjoy playing on the front foot and kind of putting players in through holes. You were carrying the ball up to the line pretty intently there. Yeah, I think on other days I wouldn't potentially want to carry as much as I did today. There's a few instances where, as I said, working on our attack and our shape, where we can probably look at different options. But yeah, I guess probably carried a bit more than I would have wanted to. I know we've spoken obviously about the fact that we've got so many new players, but clearly moving forward, you know, when it all beds in, we'll be a tough team to beat, no doubt. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we've got some really good talent in the squad, and on both sides of the ball, we've got the ability to really take it to teams and teams of that calibre as well. So it's really positive from a big picture, and it's good to have things to work on at this stage as well. We've got enough time leading up into that Irish game to get things right, and that's a good little indicator as where we're at.